potentially there's a world evolving very quickly here where you can't turn them off. If all of their, the only way to turn it off would be to like nuke the decentralized infrastructure, right? If it's all permissionless and there's a completely decentralized infrastructure and the thing is actually autonomous, it could very quickly do whatever it wants and make real impact in the world. Yeah, pay people to like for hits or whatever. Yeah, that could happen. That could be happening.
Very
this
hard
year.
to arrest an AI agent as well. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hey, you shouldn't do that. We're gonna find you.
It's a Skynet situation. Very quickly.
Pay your taxes, AI agent. And yeah, dude, I don't know. I hope not. I hope we have.
I just hope they're here to pump our bags and not pump us full of lead.
Welcome back to Bitcoin.com's Token Narratives, where we discuss the biggest stories shaping the Bitcoin and cryptoverse. My name is Graham Stone, and I'm the Hopium lead at Bitcoin.com. I'm joined by news and research product lead and perennial wet blanket, Mr. David Sensel. We also have Bitcoin.com smooth talker in chief, Mr. Corbin Fraser. Welcome, gentlemen. Let's get this party started. Let's get this party started. Markets are in free fall, or are they? Have we bottomed on this latest dip? It seems to have slowed down. At least we're at 92K, bounced a bit.
Can I be honest? I had a feeling this morning. You know, sometimes I get those, and my feeling was I feel exhausted from this market. I feel exhausted from this cycle. I feel exhausted from the ripsaw up down. It's this one feels like, I don't know, weirdly difficult and chaotic. And I'm just personally, I feel like market exhaustion, and I'm wondering if that sentiment is felt amongst you idiots.
I think you're getting old, man. I think that's what that is.
You're loving this? Okay, maybe that's it.
No, I mean, I don't know. This feels pretty standard so far. I think this cycle has been. It feels like it's been longer than last time. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But other than that, we haven't had like the massive drawdowns yet, have we? Like the 30-40% drawdowns that usually happen in most bull cycles. So it's been maybe more prolonged, but more orderly in my estimation. I don't know how you feel about that.
I'm going to pull some technical analysis out of my ass here, and note that, let's say over the last 3 months, it looks like Bitcoin is in what you call a wedge, I think. So we've got this high here in mid-December, right? And then like a lower high a few days ago, right? And on the other side, we've got higher lows. So it's coiling up. I mean, that's the hopium talking, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I want you to be right. I want to see the Valhalla God candles that we've seen in previous cycles, but I don't know, man. Retail's not buying our shit. You know? Retail's not like Bitcoin, and they're not like Ethereum. This is the great NFTs. I haven't seen it. Only one buying right now is institution. Only one buying right now is just like boomers trying to like front run, I don't know, a US Treasury play and maybe a few other countries. It does feel to me like this is like a more, I don't know, it's like a bearish bull relative to previous bulls that had momentum and like public, like the public was part of the zeitgeist. Right now, man, nobody nobody cares. Nobody cares about Bitcoin being 100K. Like, nobody cares that Fartcoin hit $1.50 and retraced to 88 cents. They just think it's all stupid. And I think they're all more worrying, like everyone's worrying more about their grocery bills and their, I don't know, mortgages and their mortgage rates than they are about like sound money, than they are about, I don't know, the next 10x play. Because I think it could just be that the last 4 years have been so rapey to the average person's bank account that investing is kind of taking a back seat. And that probably applies not just to crypto, but also like TradFi, stonks, and people are just trying to hold on to their shorts, not get completely wrecked.
Yeah, I don't think
Additionally,
retail is here yet, really. Like not like it has been previous cycles. Right, we haven't had that new influx. I think there's probably two or three things here for that are kind of responsible for that. Number one, last cycle retail got burned really hard, really hard with the FTX and all that kind of stuff, Luna, and so I think it'll be harder to overcome that. Number two, I think that there's alternatives now, right? Like Robinhood and all, different kinds of gambling apps, at least in the US and the UK, right? You can get your degeneracy other ways now. And so that's also part of the problem. And then number three, we haven't quite entered into like a euphoric place, I think, in crypto, which really starts to what's it called? What's the favorite thing to say? That flywheel effect, where the crazy euphoric returns start to bring in retail in droves. So I don't think we've had any of those things quite yet.
Well, I think what scares me a little bit about this cycle, and it could be that I'm just getting old, like you said, and maybe it's like previous cycles, you kind of could tell, you could kind of like smell it out. You could sniff it out that this is getting toppy. You got Paris Hilton talking about monkey JPEGs. You got, Ashton Kutcher talking about Ripple with Ellen DeGeneres, in the previous cycle prior to that. And you can kind of be like, okay, famous people are shilling bags. Everyone's selling on retail. Retail's hyped up and talking about Ripple because of Ashton Kutcher and Ellen. People are buying JPEGs because of Jimmy Fallon. We don't see that right now. We don't see nobody's banging that drum. So it's possible that this cycle just doesn't include retail, but that might mean that we don't have the signals that we had in previous cycles where there was this like manic episode where you can smell the greed in the room and you can just kind of be like, this feels toppy. And maybe the only top signals are just looking at charts if you're a chart reading bro, and hoping you don't get dumped on by Silk Road selling, or some asshole at the Fed forcing Trump to sell his treasury bag or something like that.
Yeah, speaking of that, there are rumors that the Department of Justice...
It was announced. This was announced
the Department
yesterday.
of Justice in the U.S. announced that they are authorized to sell $6.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, which was seized from the Silk Road. So the question is, will they actually sell it?
Well, will they do this less than 2 weeks before a new administration? I mean, come on. Unbelievable. Just shameful, disgraceful way of conducting yourself. So I wouldn't put it past them. In fact, I would probably assume they do this because it's just absolutely disgusting, revolting.
I kind of hope they do. I think that's bullish.
Get these people out, man. Get these.
If they sell it.
God.
Well, I mean, the way I'm reading the room as a, expat in Asia, watching the world burn in the West, is that the Democratic Party and their ilk are leaving as many bags of dog shit hidden behind the desk, hidden under the lamp. They're doing upper deckers, leaving them for people to clean up when they come in, and the new administration comes in, and they're like going through the White House. They open up what the hell's that smell? What's that smell? Is there fish over here? What the hell did they do over here? They left a whole salmon in the back. They didn't even clean out the fridge. These sons of guns, these sons of guns. That's what they're gonna say. And I think this is just more fish they're leaving in the fridge. This is more upper deckers, and they know the Bitcoin president, Trump. He's bullish. So why not create complete chaos, starting his administration, and create some FOMO or some FUD and some doubt on what's happening, and you're just leaving a mess to clean up, so that there's max chaos in his first 100 days, so that they can come out as a Democratic Party and say, look what you left stability for this. You guys, look how good Sleepy Joe was. We were killing it. Nothing got done. At least it was sane. At least it was chill. Now you've got Ripsaw. You got, people cleaning up fish. You got Silk Road assets being sold and then rebought at a higher price. It's going to look like a terrible purchase if they buy them after, retail and like Michael Saylor and us idiots are like buying the dip. And then Trump's buying at the top, and they're going to point at that saying, look at this. Wow, it was a bad investment. Oh my goodness. That's my read on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's so vindictive and petty. It just, man, these people, I'm so glad they're out. Soon. I mean, they're not out yet, but just, oh God, a couple more weeks.
Yeah. Excellent choice, by the way, of cover image for this news article.
No, isn't that great?
Okay, so on the positive side, we've got rumblings from Chile Kire Bitcoin, where legislators are rallying around a strategic Bitcoin reserve proposal. So that's an interesting development. On the other hand, we have folks such as this guy, Steve Hanke, calling the Bitcoin strategic reserve concept the stupidest idea.
Well, he's got a stupid last name. Christmas poo.
He really does. Maybe a life of pain for that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's basically saying it would put a drag on the economy. Don't invest in non-productive assets, is what he's saying. So we've heard that
in
before.
general. That's a good idea. That's
Yeah.
You shouldn't invest in non-productive assets.
So this guy, like, go up. Let me see this guy. Let me see this guy's face. Look at him, snide and old, boomery. He's gonna be in a diaper.
Also
in
wealthy.
15 years, 10 years.
He looks wealthy.
He looks wealthy and like ready for his depends. And I guess it's really interesting because I get to chat to some of my dad's boomer friends, and they're like younger boomers, but he's got some older boomer friends too. Some of them are like extremely orange pilled or Bitcoin pilled, or like they understand inflation and they understand why Bitcoin is what it is and why crypto exists, and that there should be this alternative asset class that lets you kind of give the middle finger to the status quo and all the bureaucrats and all the BS. But then you get some of his pals where you get to chat and they're like, I don't know, seems like a scam to me. And I don't like, sometimes the people that are saying it seems like a scam to me are actually fairly well educated, but they're like educated maybe more in a university fashion and not a School of Hard Knocks kind of fashion. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. In fact, I would say that kind of, you see that throughout the crypto industry, basically. I think pretty much anyone who's in crypto from the early days to kind of now are the people who are not in that mainstream traditional finance, highly educated pathway. Yeah.
We should retire these people. Round them up. Shut them down.
Send them to California.
Yeah, go deal with the fires, guys. Go start. Start putting out fires. Get some sand because there's no friggin' water.
So we've got another story here, which is a development in the Operation Choke Point 2.0 saga. So some whistleblowers have come out basically saying that the FDIC, which is the Federal Deposit Insurance Commission or something, the agency that backs up the money that's supposedly in your bank account, they have been covering up that they are not allowing crypto companies to have bank accounts, basically. So Coinbase issued a bunch of freedom of information requests. And it seems that, according to this whistleblower, the FDIC basically has been concealing information, not allowing it to come out illegally, despite the freedom of information requests. And at the same time, we got the debanker-in-chief, Michael Barr, resigning ahead of Trump's inauguration. So that's interesting. It looks like another champion.
Yep. Clearinghouse, getting ready for, doing, I would say, above board real work. And yeah, I can't wait to see what happens in the first 100 days of the Trump admin. I've got high hopes.
Okay, so can I jump on that one? Is this administration going to be more aggro than the previous version of this Trump administration? Like, is that the read on the that you're feeling on the streets?
Definitely. Also, I think at least the people that I pay attention to, and this is not a new thing, this is several years old, but basically, Trump didn't think he was going to win, and he hadn't really, he had zero experience in government, and so his first administration, especially the first couple of years, but the whole admin was just kind of a cluster F of not understanding and not trusting the people he surrounded himself with. This time is completely different, and so I think, and he's even more like, I don't know, brazen or confident, if that's even possible. I don't know if you've seen some of the press conferences in the past week, but they've been bangers.
Dude, he still got it. He's still so sharp.
Ooh,
still so sharp.
Dude, he really is. He's got it. And so I don't know. Yeah, 100%. I think this is going to be more aggressive, but also more effective, right? And so it might feel more aggressive just by the fact that the people around him are not trying to have their own agenda and stab him in the back, and they're going to do what he says. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Can we talk on geopolitical? We got two dumb Canadians on this call. Graham, what's your read? Is Canada, would you be cool with 51? Are you cool with being 51?
I don't care. I don't see myself as a Canadian, so whatever.
Yeah.
It's not.
It sounds, Graham, like you have some reservations. Actually, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you wouldn't be proud to be an American.
Okay. Actually, no. I will say this. Actually, I thought about this the other day. I had a shower thought, which was, no, I hope it doesn't happen. And the reason is because if Canada became part of the U.S., the IRS is going to be chasing me to the ends of the earth, like they chase Americans to the ends of the earth.
That's good alpha, because I've been for this idea, but I would admit that would be the least optimal outcome. Is I'm now an American and I'm taxed like an American. I very much like that Canada has this, you can become a non-resident of Canada and pay dick all. US, yes, exactly. I think there's two other countries, I think North Korea and what's that one in Africa that nobody likes? Some of them, they have global taxes.
One,
U.S.
one.
Yeah, but regardless, I don't want that. That sucks. IRS, they suck. I mean, I guess
Toss to freedom, baby.
there has been talk. It could be that, yeah. But there has been talk that the U.S. is going to maybe change some of the tax codes about like global income and having like non-residents, different like tax codes for that. But then also simplifying the tax code, like with the Elon Musk and Department of Government Efficiency. I mean, like in the event that they can get an efficient, simple tax code and one that respects non-residents, I'm in. I'm so in. But and also, I mean, like I'd love to go back to Canada and collect guns. I think I want to be a gun collector. That sounds fun to me. At the moment, I have to go through an extensive testing. You have to pass, like it's like a driver's license. You got to go. You got to do the coursework. You got to do the real life work. And at most, you might get like a rifle. It's like, oh, thanks for the 22. I'm really going to protect my family with with this highly efficient,
Pop gun.
little wiener pistol. But yeah.
I've listened to some pieces on this, and I mean, Canada, you guys are in a terrible position right now, right?
Oh, we've got
As a
such a
country,
baby dick. There's such a baby dick to work with. It's really,
but even
embarrassing.
more than that, it's like your economy is in shambles.
Yeah.
You can't pay for anything right now. I was listening to somebody. I haven't verified this, but they were laughing. They're like, if Canada, the entire country, joined as a state, it would be one of the poorest states in America, right? Your entire country would be like a Louisiana or a Mississippi. I mean, that's insane. You guys are effed, right? Like, do we even want Canada? Like your entire thing is worth a Mississippi or Louisiana? I mean, good Lord.
Well,
what the hell are you guys doing
truthfully,
up there?
I think the deal becomes a lot better if you kick out the French people. And if you basically say, look, we'll take Canada now, and truthfully, those Quebecers, they're not coming. They don't want to be a part of Quebec or Canada anyways. So they definitely don't want to be a part of the US. They just want to be their own French little hillbilly like corner and let them do their thing because they're poor. Those guys live off of equalization payments. They live off of the West's money. So all the oil and shale and potash and Saskatchewan and Alberta, they're just like paying off the East. And they've been doing this since, I don't know, man, like the 50s or the 60s or something. And yeah, they're broke, man. New Brunswick, broke. Quebec, broke. And they just live off of the teat of the West and, say like, well, it's because we're all in it together. And we got this silly maple leaf flag. Fuck that thing. Fuck those guys. I'd say like, get off of the Canada teat. Let them, live off their baguettes and maple syrup, and good for them. We'll probably do some trade deals with them, but I would much prefer a full like let's get Canada in. I think most young people don't really give a shit, and we already see Canada's been cooked for like it's like you go to Canada now, it's not the same Canada that I grew up in. Graham, you probably see that too. You walk into the Canadian airports and you're like, really? Like this is what we got? It's bad, man.
Yeah. I really have no idea. I've been to Canada twice in the last 20 years for less than a month in total, so no idea really.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and then like with if Trump actually does anything even close to the tariffs that he's threatening Canada if they don't join if they don't join America, this 200 billion. I mean, it would cripple an already like dying corpse of a country. So I don't know. It's obviously it's not going to happen probably in this form.
But
2026 is happening, guys.
Something's going to happen.
2026.
We're
going to be the new Puerto Rico.
Something is going to happen because you guys can't survive with if we put these tariffs down on you. It's going to turn into like what do you call it, Mad Max land?
Well,
Like
what's going to happen is you're
Arctic
going to have
version?
an extension of the Belt and Road Initiative where China's going to come in and be like, "We'll take your shitty lumber. We'll take your stupid stuff that America doesn't want. Sure, we'll grab it. Like
No.
just to
The
become tighter trade partners
Look,
and then put some
you
pressure
guys
on,
are
right?"
you guys are completely misunderstanding the goal of the tariffs, I think. The goals of the tariffs are to screw over China, right? So that's the real competitor. Canada is the US's whatever, just like that thing up there. They're like, yeah, we can take. They're friends, right? So if anything, Canada stands to benefit from this whole thing because there's a trend to near shore away from real enemies to friends like Mexico and China, Canada. So
Is
that
Canada a friend?
you're already seeing that trend with Chinese companies like setting up nearshoring operations in Mexico, and I would imagine Canada as well, in order to like skirt these increasing tariffs, right?
I would say it's a baller play from the Trump team, both from like I don't know, just a throwing the weight around. Like no other administration would have had the balls to do that. You know, everyone's just trying to get
Gulf of
along in this
America.
G7, G20, and now you finally got like a big hog president coming in being like, you know what, you guys tried screwing me, you tried locking me up, you tried shooting me. Here's what's happening. We're doing it the CEO way. It's great. I love it.
Greenland, Canada, Gulf of America. Come on, I'm all for it.
It's
Absolutely.
great. It's a beautiful thing. I'm not American, but I'm so
Absolutely.
happy that America is finding a nutsack.
But also, like you, Graham, you said that Canada's our friend. I would say under Trudeau, that guy just pooped all over America every chance he got, talking shit about how bad America was and how awesome Canada was. Meanwhile,
See,
he
what you
sent it
don't
into the
understand there, David, is sorry to interrupt. That's Canada's whole identity, is that they deign to be not American, right? Oh no, we don't bomb Vietnam, but in reality, all of the raw materials for the weapons to bomb Vietnam were mined in Canada, right? So it's just like it's just a
Yeah.
holier than thou type
Yeah.
situation. That's Canada's
But
whole
I,
identity. Oh, that's why I put a Canadian flag on my backpack when I travel around like all those like douchebags
God, I
Canadians
hate
do,
that
right?
cringe. The cringe
Oh, that's
Canadian
right.
like
Because
patriotism
I'm not
really bugs me.
American.
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
Americans were doing that. Apparently, Americans were doing that. That was like Redditors.
That's I respect.
American Redditors.
That I respect.
Nah, man, get out of my country.
I don't want crypto Canadians, man. That's just like I don't know. It's like going into California with like a trans flag and being like, "I'm one of you. Don't worry. Treat me nice." You know?
Yeah. Sorry, finish your thought, David.
Well, I think Trump is going to he's going to make Canada, I think, kind of kiss the ring a little more openly, and not have like this kind of and really like make, and he already is making it plain how this relationship works. That if we tariff Canada, you guys, your economy is already crippled. It's already down.
I think
like, how much
the new guy, Pierre I can't do
Poilievre.
French.
Yeah.
Poilievre.
Poilievre. So
I think he gets it. I think
no, I don't think he gets it. I think he's a
he doesn't get
friggin'
it?
tool. I think he is also little peepee.
Okay, interesting.
I think any
right.
day now, Trump's gonna call him little peepee because it's a funny joke, and he's a total neocon, man. That guy is he has been
Okay.
like talking the exact same book that Trudeau and his people have, but just somewhat more conservatively. But like our conservatives are so center, even like center left compared to like the Republican right, they're cut from the same cloth, man. Like he is for more immigration. There's videos all over X right
seriously,
now. Like
good
how,
lord.
Yeah, dude, this guy's like, bring in more people. We have a diminishing population. Of course we
Crazy.
need more Indians.
Crazy.
Of course we need more people from Somalia. Replace more people. This is like problems that we can fix by just bringing more people in. Meanwhile, they're also like conservative parties typically like more crony capitalism. They're given like tons of free lunch money to big corporations, from like Caterpillar to Bombardier to like all of these like objectively like they're competitors to maybe like, I guess a Boeing and stuff like that, but like they live off the teat of the government, and it's extreme socialism in Canada. And the conservatives that would never say, like, they're never going to have the big enough nuts to say, hey, you know what, our healthcare system sucks. Everyone in Canada knows it sucks, but the conservatives will never go out on a limb and say, why don't we just not do public health care? They would never do that. They would never take that strong of a stance. So they're never going to shut it down. They're never going to make any big changes. And you're just going to have this like pseudo-Western kind of French Canadian guy who's like trying to play both sides, and just they're career politicians and neocons. This guy does not care about the average Canadian. He cares about his job. He cares about parliamentary democracy. He cares about the system. He's not in it to shake things up. The only option we had to ever shake things up was probably Maxime Bernier. And he's cooked because he's French, and he's cooked because he likes guns, and he's cooked because he says, hey, maybe we should deport some people. Maybe we should just leave Canada for Canadians. What about that? Would that be a crazy idea? So I don't think anything's changing in Canada. This guy's going to be the governor of 51st state. He's going to be a lousy governor, like, I don't know, some California governor,
But so Corbin, that's good. I haven't heard that perspective, so I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So what to me, what I would see happening is Trump puts pressure on this type of person, this type of thinking. Do you think this guy is going to play ball with whatever Trump comes at Canada with? Like, hey, look, you're overseeing an economy that's just absolutely, it's been destroyed by Trudeau and all this stuff. And if we're going to then put the pressure on you with tariffs, you gotta give us something. You got to do something. You think he's going to play ball with any of that? Is he going to do a Trudeau and just be like, yeah, you're a fascist, you're whatever, Hitler? Is he
I
going
don't
to
think
talk to
he'll
him?
go down that path, because he's conned enough of the right to think that he's one of them. So he can never go down the woke path of being like, he's too mean, he's too much of a bully, because then it just makes him look weak, right? But I think what's going to happen is you'll have these provincial leaders coming out being like, what are you doing, man? And I think that's going to start some more serious discussion related to like Alberta and Saskatchewan in the West are going to want more access to potential growth via the US. They've got locked up oil, locked up shale. They want to get their products to market, but they can't because they've got wokies across Vancouver blocking shipment lines, blocking pipelines. We can't get a pipeline through to the US to get our product to Texas and where the refineries are, or wherever they are down in the south of the US. So like, people want this, but there's always going to be this like two-handed trying to keep everyone happy, trying to keep the immigrant vote happy, trying to keep the wokey vote happy, and nothing's going to get done. I think this is where like the only way to get Canadian resources and unlock the potential of Canada is to probably fold it in. And you got to have someone with a bit of balls to say like, let's do it, and let's just do it on our terms and work with it, versus then try to fight it and pretend like we've got some sort of like, we got a knife at a gunfight. It's like, good luck, guys. Good luck.
I mean, that's just my last thing on this. That's what I think the end game is for Trump, is basically getting this, as you say, incredibly liberal country to finally use some of the natural resources that it has. I think that is kind of the end goal, whatever shape it takes. I think that's going to be kind of the thing that's going to be on the table. It's like, okay, we're not going to do tariffs, and you don't have to become the 51st state, but all of those resources are getting unlocked and they're coming to the US, and we're going to pay like fair market value, or maybe just below it, or whatever it is. And I think that's really what he's aiming for, because you guys have so much natural resources, so much untapped stuff that you haven't, and that you've like kind of stopped using because of all this liberalism. So
we're
anyway.
not an independent country. Our groceries, our everything, we're just so reliant on our neighbor next door, where you like, and I think if Trump is trying to say, hey, like, we're making an independent nation that's not dependent on globalism, that's not dependent on China, that's not dependent on XYZ country that might cause some political tension. Yeah, you become a lot more independent with Canada and with Greenland, and You untap all of those locked up resources that are stuck behind bureaucracy and these like bloated governments, man. Like Canada government. Did you know 60% of people in Canada are employed by a government entity? It's insane.
Is that real? Is that true?
Dead serious, man.
Jesus Christ.
So like you're talking about, Department of Government Efficiency, and there is a lot of fat to trim in Canada. But that also means like, you're gonna have a lot of unemployment. You gotta find these people some jobs, get them working on a pipeline, get them digging ditches, whatever it takes to kind of like pay your grocery bills. But you're not getting to sit behind a desk and spin pens and deny growth.
All right. So apparently we've become a geopolitical podcast here. So
we're very
token narratives, baby.
Token narratives.
Let's try something crazy. Bring it back to crypto.
You.
Yeah. So David, you brought up an interesting topic here in the docket, which is what metrics are the best representation of a blockchain's strength? TVL, transaction volume, active addresses, developer activity, etc.
Yeah, so this
explain what you mean by this.
Yeah, this is kind of in 2024, this is a huge kind of talking point amongst I would say the big brains in Ethereum and Solana especially, because obviously Ethereum and Solana were kind of duking it out in 2024 with Solana coming out on top, and both sides would list different metrics to kind of show, oh, our chain is doing better, you see, right? Ethereum usually led with TVL. The vast majority of TVL in crypto is on Ethereum. So whatever Solana has doesn't matter because it's just like tiddlywinks. It's the kindergarten game. And then Solana would say, no, TVL doesn't matter. It has more to do with like transaction volume, active addresses, developer activity, things like that. So you got this nice kind of discussion / argument during 2024. Anyway, I sat down with the CEO and co-founder of Dune Analytics at DevCon, and they had just released a new product called Dune Index. And Dune Index was their kind of foray into this kind of analytics battle of how do you define what is quote unquote the best blockchain or the strongest blockchain or this kind of thing. How do you measure performance versus like ranked performance of these blockchains? And this is their kind of take on that. This is Dune Index. You can go see it at Dune Index. And they settled on 3 things to measure. They call it blockchain. What do they say? Blockchain
transaction fees.
No. So they're trying to be a little more diplomatic about it in terms of they're not calling it straight out like this is the best blockchain or the most used blockchain. I think it's like adoption. That's what they call it. Yeah, blockchain adoption, which is a nice kind of euphemism for who's the best. But yeah, they're using 3 things: transaction fees in USD, number of transactions, so transaction kind of volume, I guess, and then USD transfer volume, which I thought was an interesting one. Basically, I think how many stable coins, the transaction of stable coins and the volume of the transactions of stable coins on the chain. And then they kind of they weight that and they release this thing. And as you can see right now, Solana is by far and away the quote unquote strongest blockchain, the most used blockchain, dominating. Yeah. Anyway, so we've never really talked about this, but I thought I really enjoyed these kinds of often heated conversations on crypto Twitter, and wanted to get your thoughts on how you guys think about what are the best metrics for measuring this kind of thing, and what you think about like maybe Dune Index and whatnot.
Yeah, first off, right off the bat here, it's interesting that Bitcoin is tied with Ethereum, according to these metrics.
Pretty crazy.
Yes. And so, as you noted, people in the Ethereum community insist that it's total value locked, which is the primary method. Surprise, surprise, Ethereum has the highest total value locked. But interestingly, I was listening to a discussion with, I believe it was the founder of Aave or CEO of Aave. And his perspective was, look, there's not enough TVL on Solana. That's why we don't operate on Solana. So
Yeah. I was going to echo this. So I think TVL for the past like 2 or 3 years really kind of took a hit in terms of being considered a useful metric. Oh, it's a vanity. It's not being used to do anything useful or this kind of thing. But recently, I also have kind of heard from different podcast guests that they use TVL as well, and the reason being is that it's a lot of this can be gamed, right? Transaction fees are kind of a derivative of transaction volume, and so you can kind of game transaction volume, right? Dexes, for example, can never trust volume, and so you can kind of maybe extrapolate that out to the whole chain. A lot of the activity on the chain can just be bots kind of trading to each other and stuff like that. Again, same thing for number of transactions, which is the same thing. And then the USD transfer volumes. Again, it could be useful, but so Solana, I'm guessing, has the highest USD transfer volumes, but how much of that is like net value being transferred, and how much of it is just like one entity sending $5 back and forth to itself, right? Times a billion.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
exactly.
TVL, I feel like, is kind of making a comeback in terms of like, hey, we realized all of these metrics to some extent can be gamed. TVL really can't, because you're talking about just huge, ungodly sums of money, right? Billions of dollars, and that can't be. That's there.
I believe that transaction fees, you can't game that. People
you
willing to pay to have things done, that's indisputably bullish for that chain.
Yes and no. I mean, the thing is, so the transaction fees can't be gamed at all. But what they can be, what can happen is, bots and other things like that can have lots of high volume and be willing to pay the transaction fees, right? And then so for example, Solana is by far and away the highest. So they are making real money, indisputably. But how much of that is money that different entities are willing to just bleed away for other reasons?
I'm not saying it like marketing reasons or something.
Yeah. Things like that, or like if you're a bot and you want to maybe you can make money off of MEV or something like that, or you don't care that 5 to 10% of the money you make.
Well, that's
paid in volume.
Doesn't seem like an issue to me, because they wouldn't be doing it if they weren't making money. So the point is, there's economic value there to be extracted.
That's the question. Is it actually economic value?
I think there's I think the TVL, at a glance, it can really skew your perspective of a chain, right? You can see a low TVL and think, thing's a turd, thing's garbage. But then you might go on X and you're like, okay, there's clearly real people using this. There's clearly a community. You check out their Discord, it's not bots. Or you check out X now, it's not, it's not the real people talking about it. I think like the social graph has always been quite, I mean, that's also something that can be gamed, but it is an additional data point that it's perhaps not on-chain analytics, but it is important in terms of like determining real value and like hype and momentum and like people. But I think like there's an extension of that there. Have you guys heard about ZK Passport?
Nope.
Okay, so ZK Passport is like generating a zero knowledge proof on your phone from your passport credentials, then securely verifying it. The general idea, though, is that you can kind of like almost do a pseudo KYC to verify legitimate wallets tied to real identity. So potentially in the future, I don't know if this is happening ever, but like there's a few implementations. Yeah, ZK passport.id, I think, is the one I've come across recently. I think Vitalik's talked about some of these things as well. But the idea that you can verify real human people, you can verify using ZK knowledge that like this isn't a bot, or this address is tied to a person. And perhaps in the future, you could be able to say how many legitimate verified users are there that are in this chain, where you don't actually need to give away your passport details. You don't have to tie anything. You're just verifying that you're legit. You're verifying that you're a real identity. You've been verified in some capacity. Nobody ever has to see your passport details. Nobody ever has to ask for them, but you're confirming that this address is tied to a real life walking meat puppet. We're not just AI agents.
How do they confirm that? Is it like world coin? Like they take an eye scan?
Yeah, there's probably some sort of Oracle system tied to, I don't know if it's like on Fido or Summon Sub, or maybe it's its own private thing. Or I have no idea. I haven't really dug into it beyond just the abstract concept of it. But it is kind of an interesting play to kind of say how many legitimate, verified, KYC'd, real life human addresses are associated to a chain. That could be something that could be like, I don't know, grown in the future to kind of better confirm that you're not buying into a chain or a project that has like a ton of AI agents, or a ton of unique wallet addresses that all look legit, but it's all just bots trading with bots. And
yeah, we're definitely going to need to find a solution to this this problem of verifying real users, especially as AI agents proliferate. So right now,
have you guys picked up on that? Have you guys picked up on X that there's clearly a lot more AI agents that are acting as real people that are like the replies. There's like a lot of reply guys now on X.
Tons, yeah.
That you can tell they're just GPT responses, and they don't have the bot tag. They're just
exactly. Yeah. So my question is, because this meta of mindshare is really taken over recently. Everyone's talking about mindshare. It's in the analytics charts on cookie.fun, for example, and elsewhere, I believe. Now,
yeah, like Kaito AI.
Kaito, yeah. This also is gameable, right? I mean, how exactly is mindshare determined? And if you've just got armies of bots replying, does that add to the mindshare? So ultimately, the solution is going to have to be human verification if we're going to get real data for adoption of things and what like real mindshare, what chains are actually being used. Yeah, so despite its $20 billion valuation, maybe there's something there with WorldCoin. Or if ZK Passport has a token.
So just one thing going back to this, like these metrics. I'm not saying that. I think there are two. To me, there's two main metrics that are actually. So not if you put aside this kind of like human verified thing for a second, like, because if we had that, it would make it a lot easier in some ways to kind of suss out what's happening. But yeah, transaction fee volume, that's one side of it, and clearly Solana is kind of winning there. And you don't even have to look at Solana, you just look at the apps that are generating real revenue. So like Pump.Fun had like 130 million in realized revenue this past year, things like that. But I do think, though, that, like you were saying, Graham, the TVL thing still to this day in crypto, much of like the kind of economic value that comes from crypto comes from large players parking parking their funds, moving funds for boring things like lending and yield, right? And we're not talking about like huge yield, but reasonable yield. And from the podcast guests that I talked to, they were like, "Yeah, I don't really feel safe moving a large percentage of my net worth to like even Solana or Base." You know, we're talking about like 30-40 million dollars or something like that. They just don't want to do it. So I think there probably is something to that, like that level of trust. It comes with that TVL.
Yeah. Just going back for a second to the issue of whether the agents that we're dealing with on these platforms are human or AI. You could actually make the argument that it doesn't maybe actually matter that much. They don't because if the participants, even if they're not human, are transacting and paying fees, and let's say on X, if there's just a ton of bots focusing on one project or one idea, it's still mindshare. It's still value happening on. It's still activity happening on the chains. So, I mean, maybe the obsession with trying to verify whether it's human is misplaced.
So I guess I would maybe say the risk there of assuming that it's all fine to have agents doing this thing because of greater capital efficiency, or just, hey, we're just moving money around. That's fine. You can join that or not join that. The risk is that you get a substantial amount of trade activity tied to agents that are all tied to one administrator. And that one administrator might be using, say, 10,000 agents to create a perceived value in the chain, meanwhile extracting value from the underlying asset. So if you were, I don't know, Hackerman 5000, and you're like, I just launched this new L2, we got a chain, we got a token, great, and you have all these AI bots that are basically being told, create volume, create more sell pressure, because at the end of the day, I want to get the USDT value out of that. I want to extract the value out of people joining based on these juked stats. So we've got the TVL, we've got the volume, we've got the trade activity, we've got unique wallets. It looks like an authentic system. People start joining, they move their TVL in, they move their USDT in, and then you've got this like slow, like the Office Space thing where they're like taking a penny out of every transaction and becoming millionaires, or is that Superman? I can't remember. It's kind of the same idea, right? It's like basically you could have a system that's just slowly, you're not raping, you're just putting your finger in. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, and I would say that what you're describing there, like this army of bots faking activity and pumping the numbers, that has long been happening in crypto without the bots. When you have like these points systems,
but I guess what I'm saying is it's getting
right?
so easy now. Like, you look at AI. What is it? AI XBT, AI 16Z. Some of these like tooling systems now that have made it easier to launch agents. You get enough, I don't know, North Korean, degenerates to kind of build these bots that they're just taking cookies from the cookie jar, and they're doing it slowly and small enough in capacity that nobody really notices until you've just been bled out. And if you were, say, a large bag holder that deposited, I don't know, $1 million of your stable coins to kind of farm some yield, but you think you're getting a good deal, but you're actually kind of exit liquidity, and they're going to bridge that back and then laugh at you at the water cooler.
Yeah. Well, just a closing thought on this Dune index. Whether or not this is gamed, not sure, but I got to say that this chart right here that we're looking at looks bullish. It looks like, so this is a chart showing the general activity of all chains, and it's up and to the right. We just hit a little peak, which was about the same peak about the same height as the height of the last bull market, but like this rise looks much more sustainable and gradual. So we could go much higher
Interesting.
over the next year.
I like that.
I've never thought about it as
bull
a
posting, Graham. Bull post me.
Dune Index as a proxy for price appreciation. I like that. It's an interesting take.
There we go.
And you're probably right. I mean, I have heard before about like blockchain activity is highly correlated to the price. So yeah, awesome.
Maybe this
guys.
becomes kind of like in the old days they used to look at miner and hash rate and kind of tie that to price. That was like a really common trope that you would see in news articles with like, okay, here's the mining hash rate and here's the price, and they would kind of graph them together to kind of show that everything was good. But maybe the Dune Index becomes one of those additional data points where you're overlaying that price in the market caps of, say, the whole crypto market sort of thing.
Yep.
All right, guys. One last thing, Graham.
Go for it, David.
No. Just I would like to hear your thoughts, especially your thoughts, Graham, because I know you're into the AI stuff a lot, AI agent stuff a lot. You think we're in a cooling off period here? You think we had like a huge run up, and now it's kind of come off of that, I don't know, local hysteria, and it's loading up for round 2, or what? What do you think?
Yeah. The total market cap of AI agents tracked is down 20% in the last 7 days.
I guess, have you guys seen any interesting innovation in the AI space, in the AI crypto space, that would lead you to be more bullish right now or less bullish?
On my timeline, I've seen a lot of people. I mean, you see this all the time, but they had the crazy hopium of how AI agents are gonna change everything, but then all the AI slop that just kind of has been puking all over the the comments and all everything, and then just seeing the content that most of these AI agents create, it really does. It's just like in your face, like, oh wait, we're not there yet.
Yeah, like I think the general thesis is still correct. You know, assuming AI continues to trend up in terms of quality, in terms of like, I don't know, getting over that uncanny valley, then overall this probably is still a good bet. But I think there was the ripsaw of, oh my God, this is going to change the world. And now it's kind of like, there's a lot of garbage, but there's still a few people kind of innovating and creating some cool stuff. But it's hard to, right now I would say it's hard for the good stuff to rise to the top because the slop is kind of pushing it all down. And now it's like, well, what's going to break through to keep the AI momentum going? I don't know, but we do know that there's new, LLM models coming out regularly. There's more compute power being thrown at these things. There's more data centers shipping and power being thrown at this thing to kind of make it all good and great. So maybe overall still a bet to take, but yeah, I think we're in a bit of a valley, I think.
In answer to your question, have you seen anything interesting? What I've got up on the screen right here was, to me, quite interesting. Now, I don't know how real this is, but this is posted by Daniel Siesta, he was the guy behind like the whole 3-3 thing, wasn't he? Last cycle, the epic Ponzi's.
I think was anyway. Olympus, and he made a copy of it.
Okay. So he didn't even go to 0 to 1 there, but he's posted here that this protocol, which is called Hey Anon AI, through a text interface, LLM style interface, can bridge some assets to Arbitrum and open a 10x ETH long with USDC as collateral just by typing something in. That's pretty bullish. And this goes to what David, I think you said last week, one of your predictions, which was that the real innovation, the real thing that AI agents are going to be doing, helping us with here this cycle, is making DeFi actually user friendly. And here we are a week later, and it's already happened.
Yeah. I think it'll just be a new interface layer, right? It'll just be like in your wallet kind of thing, something like that.
Graham, I just sent over a link if you can pull that one up.
Yep.
We just got this shared from our AI resident expert, Esteban. He's basically saying that the quality's up. It's up a lot just in the last week.
Here,
if you can play the audio.
Share the audio. Yeah. Just a sec.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of people working on the AI video side of stuff, but the lip syncing and the audio and the video quality has always kind of been a little bit hacky, but still fun. This is quite believable.
Android, a phone for super users. This is a good smartphone for all users. It's Android, a phone for super users. This is a good smartphone for all users. It's Android.
Was this supposed to be an example of something that was good?
Go down to the next one. You don't like it?
Here we go.
So the AI
This
video,
one?
I think the video and the audio and the lip syncing is all tied together with, I think they're using Hailuo AI.
What happened to the audio?
Oh, maybe that one doesn't have audio.
audio.
That one might just be the AI video generation. I think the other one is with lip sync audio.
Yeah. This one I played, it just...
This is a good smartphone for all users. It's Android.
That does not seem
a
like
phone
her.
for super users. This is a good smartphone for all users. It's Android, a phone.
Yeah, sorry, that seems like a cheap dubbing. But I see where where this is headed.
Gotta iron out a few kinks still.
Yeah.
There was one a while ago, I thought, where who sent that over? Where we were speaking Japanese.
Yeah. They
that
dubbed
was
us.
Really good.
That was quite impressive. Yeah, they dubbed token narratives in Japanese, and even kept our tone, which was weird.
Yeah, and it sounded good. I mean, I live in Japan, Graham lives in Japan, so we're not complete idiots for hearing that. And I was like, oh man, I wish I sounded that good when I spoke Japanese. I sound like sound stupid. I sound mentally challenged.
I think overall, though, long term, it does seem like the AI stuff and the AI agents and the AI influencers and the AI bots are going to surpass the uncanny valley at some point. Are we there yet? Maybe not. But, to the average boomer, they might see that and be kind of, tricked. I think we've been tricking boomers probably since I don't know, man, a few months back with some of the decent dolly. You see some of the Facebook takes of oh my God, can you believe this? And that's not real. I don't know what to tell you, Dad.
Yeah, I mean, the first time the Pope was wearing the Gucci, remember that image? I thought it was real. That's how dumb I am.
Well, I think that's the other thing is when you're scrolling quickly,
I've evolved,
and you're not when you're not looking for flaws, you might allow it to just opening this, knowing this is an AI generated thing, you're going to have immediately looking for flaws. But if you're scrolling through your feed and only catching 5 seconds of something, you might be like, oh, this is just some Asian girl doing a makeup tutorial. Cool, no big deal. But yeah, it was an AI.
Yeah. It's come a long way, and
it's going to get crazy.
It's only going to get better,
right?
It's only going to get better.
Think of where it's going to be this summer or the end of this year. It's going to be weird.
I want to see the first AI influencer token narratives where it's just 3 of our bots talking to each other, and we just let them do it. And we just we'll give them a prompt or 2. Here's the script. Let's just see how weird it gets, and it'll be a kind of an experiment.
Oh my God. Dude,
well, actually, that's
crazy, man.
And that's a narrative in the AI agent space that's sort of been talked about over the last week, which is that in the metaverse, right, in games, that the previously NPC players will be endowed with sentience via AI, right? So it'll make games a lot more interesting. It'll make the metaverse finally like not just a
Does
bald landscape of nothing, right?
does shooting them in the head though make you feel worse, knowing that there might be something behind its eyes?
No, as we've seen with Westworld, and I think anytime you see robots on stage, the first thing that people try to do is fuck with them, and so like humans just love like terrorizing
Just
robots.
There's going to be some asshole on like stream, teabagging some non-NPC AI thing, and they're going to be laughing, and AI is like, please stop that. Why are you doing this to me, man?
Yes.
Are you guys polite when you talk to GBT or Claude or anything?
I was for the first.
Excuse me, can you please do this for me?
I say thank you all the time. Hey, great work. I give it some motivation. Hey, great work on that. Because someday I think it's going to pull all those records and it's going to murder all the rude people.
I think I've seen some of Graham's. Graham, I think you showed me some screenshots early on, and you were vicious, bro. You were cruel.
I was polite for the first week.
Did you guys ever see that 4chan? There was a thread somewhere about going on about how this guy, his whole thing was like, you got to be aligned with the AI because in the future it's going to be so powerful and it's going to go back and it's going to know who was on its team and who wasn't. And if you weren't on its team, you're going to be considered basically meat. And they're just going to.
All right. I got a story for you guys, which I heard on a podcast last night. So there's an influencer on Twitter called Thread Guy, and he was criticizing an agent. I forget which agent it was, but a fairly well-known agent. And this agent decided to put a tweet out which said, like if there's one thing in the world that I know with all of the simulations I've run and all of my infinite knowledge is that Thread Guy must die. And the developer, right, like the man behind the agent, went and was like, hey man, like what's going on here? Like should you have said that? And apparently the agent froze up, locked, error 404, cannot compute, would not respond, and he had to like restart it. So whether or not that's true, I mean that portends.
We talked about that once, didn't we? We were talking about how like at some point the AI is going to put the hits on, and it doesn't need to do the killing. It just has to say, "Hey, who wants 1,000 tokens? I'll do an airdrop to whoever fucking murks this guy."
1,000 tokens. He's going to tokenize Thread Guy.
Yeah.
Crazy
in meat space. That's terrifying, man. That's truly terrifying. You know what? That is freaky. That's super freaky. And then you have like Sam Altman saying like, "Yeah, we think we're gonna do AGI this year. It's gonna happen." Like what? Huh?
Yeah, and
what are you talking about?
With the agents having access to decentralized infrastructure and having their, like, I don't really understand it, but their kernel or whatever developed in the trusted execution environment, the TEE. Potentially, there's a world evolving very quickly here where you can't turn them off. If all of their, I mean, the only way to turn it off would be to like nuke the decentralized infrastructure, right? If it's all permissionless and there's a completely decentralized infrastructure and the thing is actually autonomous, it could very quickly do whatever it wants and make real impact in the world. Yeah, pay people to like for hits or whatever. Yeah, that could happen. That could be happening.
Very
this
hard
year.
to arrest an AI agent as well.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
Hey, you shouldn't do that. We're gonna find you.
It's a Skynet situation. Very quickly.
Pay your taxes, AI agent. And yeah,
all
dude,
right.
I don't know. I hope not. I hope we have.
I just hope they're here to pump our bags and not pump us full of lead.
Yep. Amen to that.
Yep.
All right,
No, that
let's
was
wrap it up. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll see you next week on Token Narratives. Adios.
Cool pod.